like to take a minute to thank this week's sponsor, Midnight Mom Society. Midnight Mom Society is a mom-run alternative apparel shop. She designs and handcrafts rad shirts like this one, and accessories ranging from pop culture nostalgia to dark and witchy. The shop is designed for the dark-minded and forever young. Each order is also packed with a touch of magic, so pick up some gear today. You can visit her store on Etsy by simply searching Midnight Mom Society or by going to etsy.com/shop/Midnight Mom Society. And don't forget to use our code Unsigned for 10% off your order. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. That's staying in. That's staying in. Go ahead, man. I want to hear your voice.
Welcome everybody to a new episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? Podcast about life in the music industry. That was great. That was a good. That was a nice intro. That was like perfect.
It was.
Perfectly.
The timing was impeccable.
It was perfectly together in sync. But today we got a really awesome guest. We got Wes Hoffman from St. Louis, Missouri.
Not only an awesome guest though, like a friend of ours too. Like he became a friend through this. Like and huge, like he's a huge supporter of like this medium, you know, of like people who go out and do this shit, because like he said in this episode, and you'll hear him, but like bands don't have platforms without people willing to promote their shit. And so like if you're out there, like I don't know who you are, but if you're thinking that you're hot shit, let me tell you right now, you ain't.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Just straight call out,
man. Like,
straight call out.
You want to know who's cool? People who don't act like they're cool. Those are the real cool ones. People who give a shit about music industry. People who give a shit about the small guy. Those are the cool people. Because we're gonna fucking stick it to the man one day.
Like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
I saw a video of him in a Target once. I shop at Target.
Whoa, dude, it's like you guys are the same person.
I'm not saying,
but like, have you ever? I've never seen you in a room with Justin Timberlake before.
It's true. It's true, and
very true. And this is getting long and drawn out. You want to just hop into the fucking podcast because this one's a long one.
Yeah, it's true. Let's get into it. So welcome to Where Did All My Friends Go, Wes? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Pat. How are you? It's so great to meet you finally.
Yes, it's great to meet you as well. I was just telling
Bear. Good to see you.
I was just telling Bear before you hopped on here that like I was excited because for everyone I've ever known that's talked to you, that you're a really great guy. So I was excited to get a chance to like pick your brain, talk to you, and see if I can't pull out some random knowledge at you.
Who do you know that talked to me?
Gosh, I don't remember it. Like I talked to like my Instagram shit is so just deep of just like people talking to me, and like especially when we've been working on this comp and stuff that we're doing, I'll shoot like the list of who's on it so far, and they're like, oh, Wes is on. Oh, Wes on. He's so cool, man. I love that dude. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get
something you should know about
cool.
Pat is that's his generic band voice. That's his voice for any band ever.
ever.
Dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a good band
totally
voice.
Sick, dude.
Oh, totally riding tubular, dude.
I just hopped in and I just got pitted.
Basically.
I just got pitted. I was noshing on some grindage.
Take me back.
Okay, so Wes, so you are a bit of a jack of all trades, I would say, when it comes to the music scene. You know, from artist to podcaster to motivational speaker. You've stated in other interviews that you kind of took a musical hiatus of sorts before returning to the scene around 2017. During that hiatus, you started the Treehouse Network Shop.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So, I ran Treehouse Network Shop for 5 years. It kind of all started when I was looking for a job in 2014. And I was just started networking. I started going to a lot of networking events here in St. Louis, and I started meeting a ton of people. And eventually companies and people were reaching out to me and they were like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you help me? Or, hey, I'm looking to fill a position. Do you know any like web developers or anything like that? And so I started thinking, and I was like, well, people get paid a lot of money to be recruiters and like match up companies with people. And so that's kind of what I started doing. But the model was a little bit different. I would work like with a job seeker and kind of give them some job coaching. Like, hey, here's what you need to do with your resume. Here's some people you should talk to. Here's maybe some companies that you should start like looking into. So I've always kind of been entrepreneurial. And I think that a lot of that, we were talking earlier, like a lot of that comes from being in a band. You know, essentially if you're in a band, if you want to make it, you either need to get a manager that can help you with the business side, or someone in your band needs to be the driving force behind like, you know, promoting it and doing the business side and all that kind of stuff, getting merch done. And I really just enjoy that part of being in a band. And I really enjoyed that part of being an entrepreneur as well. So and then I also did like some motivational speaking on the side. Like, you know, I would go to colleges and conferences, and that was really fun too. I really enjoyed it. It's if you can pull it off, it wasn't a super steady gig, but it paid really well when I would get good gigs. It was like, hey, come out to Cleveland and hang out here for a weekend, and we'll put you up in a hotel, and you know, we'll pay you a bunch of money. And it was really sweet whenever I would get gigs like that. But you know, other times it would be like, hey, will you come do this thing and we'll pay you $150? And that was cool too. So
how does one get a gig like that? Where like how do you get like a college to be like, hey, you want to come over and you want to talk to some people? You want to motivate some people?
Dude, honestly, if I had you'd be surprised how many people I asked that to myself. Because it was like I really would enjoy to do it full time. And eventually I did get hooked up with an agency. I had an agent that would book gigs for me, and when I would get inquiries and stuff, she would handle them. But a lot of it was networking. If you get in with the right organizations, like FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, was one that I worked with like almost every year. And so within that, there's all these, you know, one person that works in there, they tell this school, hey, we had this really cool motivational speaker come out. Like, you should have him come to your school assembly. Like, they all kind of talk within that. But I could never really crack that code of like, how could I get, you know, several gigs a month and do this full time? So, you know, I took them where I could get them, and it was a lot of fun. So, you know, I got to meet some really cool people, and I still do it a little bit on the side. You know, I like entertaining people, and I like performing. So I think that's where, you know, the music thing and the motivational speaking thing. And I love inspiring people too. So
I love inspiring people as well. My wife tells me that I don't do a good job at it. I just end up making it bad sometimes.
Oh man.
Because that's my thing. Like, whenever anyone's like fucking down, I'm like just down in the dumps. I'm like, I'm gonna bring you up.
I can attest to that first fucking hand.
Oh yeah, I do that for you all the time. But I feel it always seems to be like I could do pretty good with just about anybody. With my wife, I am a failure with that though. Like, I'm not good at that portion of marriage.
The same way with my ex-wife.
Yeah, and you know, usually, you know, it always works out eventually, but my trying to be inspiring just ends up being like annoying or something. I don't know.
Or something.
And I'll even tell her, I'm like, I'm just trying to like bring you up and inspire you, and just like, well, it's not working. And that's okay. That's okay. She fixes it. So on that note, so we talked about a little earlier before the show started. You have hosted a few different podcasts now. Wes Hoffman with Friends. Is that one you're still doing?
No, so I kind of moved away from that one.
Yeah.
So
'Cause you did-
I first started out doing a podcast called the Strange House.
Yep.
And we went on a Warped Tour one summer. We talked to like Hawthorne Heights, Knocked Loose, MXPX, Bowling for Soup, Gwar.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I was gonna bring up, because I saw that you had interviewed like Mike Herrera, Kevin Lyman, and even our good friend Sam Dean from Plug Your Holes.
Yes, Sam. I love Sam Dean.
Sam Dean is my best friend. We grew up together up in Duluth.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. But because I saw
he's a great dude.
He is a great dude. Awesome dude.
I love knowing cool people vicariously through my friends.
When we just went down for Unsigned Night Festival, we stayed in his new in the new Plug Your Holes warehouse. It's a massive complex.
Is he in Dallas now?
No, he's in Kansas City. He's still in Kansas City, but it's on the way down to Dallas.
On the way down. Okay. Yeah, I've been to the old Plug Your Holes HQ, and it was cool, man.
This one is a giant building. Like they have wings. There's like the pink wing. It's massive. So yeah, but you were saying that you had actually been on, you went to Warped Tour with Strange House. What was that experience like?
It was awesome, man. I think so. It was the summer of 2017, and I think we did like 5 days. And we split it up a little bit. It was interesting because like we met up with the tour when they had only been like going for like a week, and all the bands and all the staff were like really energized and excited, and everybody wanted to talk to us. Like, everybody wanted to do interviews, and it was like literally maybe only 5 days into the tour. And so we caught up with them in Nashville. We did Nashville and Atlanta, and we were supposed to do New Orleans, but it got canceled. And so, we talked to all these bands, and it was super fun. I got to see all my favorite bands that year. And then,
oop, you cut out there.
Oh, we got out.
Yeah, right, you cut out. So
in the meantime, we're going to talk about.
Yes. So, City. You're coming back. Hold up. You cut out there for like 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
If you want to backtrack. New Orleans just got canceled.
Yeah.
So New Orleans got canceled. We went to Atlanta, and then we did like St. Louis and Kansas City. And those were both tours at the end of the tour, like the beginning of August almost. And everybody was like, you could just tell a completely different, like from going at the beginning of the tour to the end. At the end, everybody was like, you could kind of hear people bickering a little bit. It was like, you could tell people were warm. It is a long tour, and it's very hot, and it's a pretty tough tour to be on.
It is. It is. Absolutely.
But we really enjoyed it, and I met some amazing people. And we've podcasted here at the Warped Tour in St. Louis like several times. So I've met so many awesome people through podcasting. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I do miss Warped Tour, even though I'm older now, and it's hot, man. And I am a very fair-skinned old white guy. And
ditto.
I think when in 2018, when they decided to stop, like we didn't podcast that year. And, I had a bunch of sunscreen on. I was like staying hydrated, and I was with a bunch of my friends, and they were all going to go see Census Fail. And I was like, guys, I got to lay down under this tree in the shade. Like, I got to take a break. Like, I'm dying over here. Like, so I love Warped Tour. It'll always have a special place in my heart, but it does get harder as you get older.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I can attest to those long the tour being long. I did 2 years in a row in 2011, 2012. And it's long, especially at the end. The stretches at the end are so long, and you're just really tired at the end of those long drives.
Well, I remember just being on a tour, right? Like, it wasn't even Warped Tour. It was just a 2-month tour. And the last 2 weeks was fucking hell. It was longer than the entire tour put together with those last 2 weeks. And I just remember like driving at the wheel, like, are we fucking there yet? Like, just getting like super like just super ornery and pissy and like, and it's not like I was like against any of the dudes in the band or anybody we were playing with. It was just like, it takes a mental fucking toll. It's awful. And like, it's really true that there are really like, there's only a handful of people who are cut out for it. Like, I will never say somebody won't make it in the music industry or the music scene. Cause I mean, with the internet now, you can literally make it, you know, quote unquote, make it in the music industry and never have to play a show in your life. You know what I mean? Like, so, but when you come into like the touring industry, like, oh, fuck, it is a different breed of fucking human. Like, you literally have to be built different in order to like make it through a fucking
yeah. You gotta be like correct.
Yeah, you gotta be like Pat in every way.
I want to say one of those people who is definitely cut out for it is our good friend John James Bryan of Keep Flying.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nobody gigs as hard as JJR.
Dude, he is an intense personality. Like, he is awesome. Is awesome, and that just like, he is always on the road.
Yeah.
And has been for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He has got an impeccable work ethic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude, there was a time of a period of time between 2015 and 2019 where I played, I counted it out once. It was like 423 shows in 4 years. And I remember looking back at that going, holy shit.
Yeah.
That is like a show every fucking 4 days, maybe.
Yeah. Back in my heyday where I was doing, I think we would tour 3 weeks, come home for 1 week,
go
leave
back
for
out.
tour again, go right back out.
Yep.
It was intense schedule. And especially like when you're first starting out and you're doing your touring and stuff, not everybody's lucky enough to have those, 15 passenger vans and your trailers. My first tours were in a caravan.
Yeah.
with a topper, topper on top of the van for our clothes. And 6 of us in the van with all of our gear.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember touring in a Chevy
and a TV.
A Chevy Aveo, one of those like hatchback cars. And now, don't get me wrong, it was the acoustic project back then, but we still fit 3 people, all of our gear and all of our merch into a little Chevy Aveo. And I remember like driving with like, I was in the passenger seat. I had like my clothes and my suitcase, like everything on me, my guitar leaning against my shoulder.
Yeah.
My friend over here just, and for 5 hours, right? Like, this is not like, oh, we're driving like 30 minutes. No, it's like, we got to be in Kansas City tonight. But we're living for it. We're just sitting here like, this is the most uncomfortably happy I've ever been.
Yes. When you're younger, it's like no big deal, like I remember one of my first bands, we were like 19 or 20 and we did like a 2-week tour, and it was exactly like you said. We had my parents' Ford Aerostar, and and we had to take the back seat and like one of the captain chairs out of it.
Yep.
So our drummer, who was like at the time he was like a little dude, he like made a little bunk on top of the merch container.
Nice.
And he even had like a little like tent, like a cover over it. And so he would just be in there like sleeping and hanging out, and every once in a while we'd hear the window open so that he could like smoke a cigarette.
Nice.
Dude, I remember I remember like progressing, and I say progressing very lightly, but progressing in like how much better. That's a bad sentence. Like watching myself get better at touring, and then like finding things where it's like, oh hey, I don't have to load in all this gear every single time. I'm gonna get a fucking dolly. Like I'm gonna bring a dolly, and then you're like, oh okay, cool. And then you're like, you know what? I don't need to be in show clothes until the show. And then you're just like in pajamas the entire day. And then you're like, if we drive to the place tonight, we can just wake up and be there. Okay, cool. And then you're like, if I spend $20 a month, I can park outside of a 24-hour Planet Fitness and wake up for showers. And then just like the little shit that you'd end up like doing. If I reached out to like, because this is something that we did that I haven't yet found anybody who's done this. I'm sure they've done it, but like 3 weeks before our tours, we would reach out to places like Chipotle, Moe's, McDonald's, Arby's, like whatever, and just throw them so much stuff. Like, hey, we love eating here. We're going on tour. Like, we'd love to have your support, blah, 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 with everything. And then we'd give them a pitch like, you know, if you guys help us support on this tour with coupons or free vouchers, we'll throw you all over our social media. And then we send them our EPK. We send them this big thing. And 9 times out of 10, they'd send shit back. Like Chipotle sponsored like 3 of our tours just because we asked them to. Well, and then
Chipotle was pretty notorious for that for a long time.
They were.
They would do that. But it was also like, I remember if you were a band on tour and you had a Chipotle tattoo, you would get free food the entire tour.
Oh, hey, I could just like put a Chipotle tattoo like in here somewhere.
Oh, right. Like I'm down.
When I was down, I was going to get a fucking burrito tattooed onto me. Like I was in, but then they stopped doing it. As far as
I mean, like if you had gotten it in its prime, like it would have paid for itself 10 times over. You know what I mean?
Oh,
well, you know, Taco Bell was doing that like feed the beat for a while. Like
they still do, actually.
Yeah,
but it's more.
Maybe I'll have to hit them up then.
It's more of a contest kind of a thing now. Like it's not a contest, but like they select it. Like, you know, like they're like, who won? And then because I had a friend of mine's band, Boys of Fall, that got selected to be on Feed the Beat, and they picked like, I think it was like 10 or 20 of them or something. But yeah, that was pretty cool until it became like this like contest style kind of thing. And you know, whatever, teach their own. Like, and hell, I still signed up. Like, on the off chance that, like, I get it. Like,
bullshit, but I'm still gonna do it
because if I win, it's not bullshit. You know, like if I win, everyone else has a bad experience.
Absolutely. So, speaking of touring, music, and all that sort of stuff. So, before your triumphant return to music with, you know, doing your Wes Hoffman and Friends, you first made a pit stop, the musical project called Why Not?
Yeah. How do you know all this?
I keep my resources to myself. So
plagiarism,
which I feel, I don't know about you, but I felt it had a nice little like hot rod circuit kind of feel to it. If you ever listen to them, they're tight. What happened with Why Not?
So that was kind of like, so that was in the midst of, that was me and my buddy. That was actually the reason how I got into, back into music, was me and my buddy, when we started doing The Strange House, we did that podcast together. We started talking to bands like MXPX and Knuckle Puck were like some of the first ones that we talked to. And Knuckle Puck was like, I don't even think their first album was out yet. They were still like really new. That's and tight. We were kind of like, hey, you know, he played drums, I play guitar, and we were like, we could do music again. Like, let's get back into it. You know, like we could run this. You know, we both have been in bands before, and we were a little older. And we were like, we could run this just as well as other bands are doing their thing. So I played guitar. We had a bass. We got a bass player. We had another guitarist. Like, if you go back on Spotify, we have a song called Secrets. That so there was a couple of iterations of this band. I was singing lead on the song called Secrets, and then we switched it around. I switched to bass, and the bassist took guitar, and we put out a 7-inch, and you know, it kind of just fizzled out as things do. Like, but that was actually because that was fizzling out. Me and the one of the other guys, we started our own band. So I started Wes Hoffman, and Wes Hoffman and Friends, out of the ashes of Why Not. And then he started a band called Candy Lion. So, you know, it's kind of like, we wanted to keep doing music, and our drummer, he was kind of like, you know, I've got other things going on. Like, I don't really have the time for this. So, but it was a fun project while it lasted. We opened for Foxing at Del Mar Hall here, which is a pretty nice venue here, like right when they opened up. And it was like, I'm used to playing in like 300 cap venues at the most. Like,
right.
I mean, I've played bigger shows when I was younger, but this is like an 800 cap, 1,000 cap venue. And it was like really, really nice. And I kind of got on stage and I hadn't played, music. Like now I would be fine with that. I'd be totally comfortable with like playing, I'm back in the game and I've been back in it for a while, but that being one of my first shows back, I was like, I walked onto the stage and I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here.
Am I in the right venue?
Yeah. And then people started showing up and it was fucking sold out. And I was like, oh my God, is it too late to back out? Like, like now I would be like, yes, let's fucking go. Like, let's do this, But back then it was like, I just wasn't where I'm at now with like my stage presence and my voice and my guitar playing and all that. Like I was still really getting back into it.
Yeah. And then you liked it enough to where you guys were also in talks about maybe starting it back up in like 2019.
We were.
You were.
Oh, yeah, we were. We did a.
Oh shit.
We did a show. We were talking about it, but it never really kind of came about. But yeah, we did it. Our last show was we did a Christmas show in like I think at the end of 2017. So. But yeah, I mean now Wes Hoffman and Friends has really kind of taken off and it's been that's been like my main focus.
Absolutely. Which is
out, so.
It's fire, by the way. If you don't know that yet, it's fire. So when you were starting Wes Hoffman and Friends, so were you planning on doing that kind of like as a solo project where you worked with like different artists for each song, or what was your initial kind of idea?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. So our drummer, his name's Hez Retnu. It's his last name backwards, so we call him Hez. And he asked me, we became friends in 2017, and he's one of those people that he is truly a jack of all trades. Like he streams on Twitch, he knows how to do like video editing. He knows how to do a little bit of computer programming. Like nice. he plays drums, he plays guitar, he sings. Like he just does everything. He knows how to do a little bit of everything. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to come to my house and like hang out and record a song?" And I put together like a minute and a half or minute 45-second song, and I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was just gonna do it for fun, And so we recorded it. He played drums on it. I did everything else. He sang on it, some backgrounds on it too. And then I was like, well, let's do another one. And then, so we did another one. And then, we brought in my best friend of 20 years and he played bass. And I was like, okay, let's do one show, just one show. Like if I die tomorrow, I want to at least have done one more show. And I think I was like 35 at the time. And I was like, this is cool. Like I'm happy to do this. And the show sold out. I think we had like a 60 cap room. It was pretty small, but it was sold out. It was packed, and
that's awesome.
We had a lot of fun doing it, and then it just kind of evolved from there. And I just enjoy doing it so much I couldn't stop. So for awesome. At first it was like, this is just going to be me. Like I know as bands go, like, and I'm sure you guys understand this, like. I know I'm the type of person that I know I'm going to put 100% into it no matter what, and, a lot of times when I was younger, I was in bands where, there might be one guy that's like that or two guys that's like that. And the other guys are kind of along for the ride. And that's not how it is in my band. Like all the guys are like, invested, they really enjoy it. They really have fun doing it. But I knew that no matter what, I'm in this for the long game. Like, 10 years from now, I hope when you go to my Spotify page or whatever streaming platform we're on, like there's a ton of Wes Hoffman music, you know what I mean? And no matter who's a part of it, if it's, it's always going to be the guys, unless they decide to move on, like I always want it to be the same group of guys that's playing with me now. But I also wanted to bring in people like on our song For What It's Worth, we brought in like Emily Plamondon, who who also has a podcast, and she's like a punk rock influencer, a singer. And, you know, on our new album, we're actually in the process of recording a full length right now.
Okay,
And
cool.
we're going to have, like, you know, at least 2 songs that will have guest vocalists on it as well. So, you know, maybe eventually we'll bring in a guest guitarist, have somebody play solo. Maybe we'll have John James Ryan play the sax on something.
Who
you
knows?
know, like,
Who knows? Sky's the limit.
Maybe we'll have Pat Tarnowski play on it. I don't know.
I mean,
Dude, I can do a mean rhythm guitar.
Yes, you can. All right, so we got one more question for you before we go to the break. And that question is, what is one piece of advice that you could tell our listeners that you know now, but wish you had knew when you first started out?
Oh my God. I would say the biggest thing for me, dude, is and just in life in general, is to just follow your own vision, your own heart, like not your parents, not society's, like just your own path. Because there were so many times in my life, it's the reason why I stopped playing music. I just got it in my head, I shouldn't be doing this. It's silly to waste my time trying to pursue music. And I wish I would have done that the whole entire time. And you know, my parents were very supportive with my music, but at the same time, they were like, you know, you should have something to fall back on. You should focus on school. You should have a job, which I agree. I get it. But I also feel like at the time when I was younger, you know, I was pushing this project, the different bands that I was in, and we were making it somewhere. Like you know, and I felt like I could have made it somewhere. But, you know, I kind of listened to too many other people's agendas and not my own. And I think it's important even now, you know, that I'm older, it's still hard to kind of shut out the noise.
Right.
But, you know, so I guess that's the biggest thing is follow your heart, listen to that still small voice. There's a lot of things that, like, you know, opportunities that I had that I was like, no, I shouldn't do this. Like my parents are right, you know, blah, 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 blah. But now as I look back, I'm like, I should have just fucking went for it.
Yeah. Because time is the one thing that you'll never be able to get back.
Totally.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to go ahead and go to a quick break and we'll be right back.
Oh, hey, Jeff. Oh, gosh. Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. I wanted to tell you really quick about a bunch of new merch we got. And we got these super cool sweatshirts. Got stuff on the back. We got these new hats in. Oh, man, they're so freaking warm and comfy. We even got these cool shirts. These shirts are cool. You know, all proceeds go back into helping us be able to support up-and-coming bands, so be able to do this full time. So everything is super helpful. We got these really cool bandanas too. Check them out. www.unsignedpoppunk.com. Link will be in the description below.
And we're back with our good friend Wes Hoffman. Wes, again, we want to thank you so much for being on this podcast. Basically, we've already gotten the music shit out of the way. We've gotten to know you a little bit. Like we've had some fun here.
Yeah. Have you listened to the show yet?
I have not. I was meaning to earlier today, but
it's okay.
It's always, you know, hey, I have my own podcast, and when I ask people like, hey, have you listened to the show yet? And they're like, no. I'm like, I don't take it personal, you know.
No.
But
I see. I was just wondering if you had yet, because this is we start to switch things up. You know, we try to be, you know, every podcast is very similar, and especially with how they ask questions, it's all music related and all that sort of stuff. So we try to do things a little bit differently. You know, we try to have a couple different segments.
I'm trying to give our like YouTube watchers something to enjoy.
You are visually stunning right now. So, but we're going to hop over to our next segment, which is the obscure questions segment. This is where we kind of ask any weird thing that might come to our brain. And with that first question I do have for you, I'd like you to tell me about Green Lantern. Would you say he's your favorite superhero?
Yeah. You went deep into my Instagram or some shit. Like,
I was gonna say I go deep everywhere, but that gets a little dirty at that point.
So yes, let me see here. I can actually show you guys in my kitchen here. I have a little Green Lantern, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like shelf.
Okay. I see you.
Yeah,
that's tight.
Yeah. So the movie with Ryan Reynolds, not
rough.
quite.
The best thing
That's
about the movie with
representation
Ryan
of,
Reynolds is the
um,
jokes about the movie that Ryan Reynolds makes in other movies.
Oh yeah.
That is the
yeah.
best part about that movie.
Yes. It's like it's infamous. It's like famous for being so bad.
Yeah, I enjoy watching it because it's just entertainingly bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. I mean, you know, it just could have been. They just really missed the mark with it.
I love, like, I just gotta say, one of my favorite things about that movie is that I love that, like, when he just powers on and gets the suit, all of a sudden his hair's feathered too. I like that.
yeah, of course. And all of a sudden he has, like, when he wears the mask, his eyes are like this bright blue.
Yeah,
and I'm
weird.
like, why did you guys do that?
But
I really do like one bright spot in that film though, is I really like Kilowog.
Kilowog's great, and he looks great. He looks perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great job with Kilowog in it. And I don't know if you guys have watched Green Lantern, the animated series.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is good.
It's so
very,
good.
very
Literally, okay, and this has been my opinion since day one. I'm a Marvel guy through and through, okay? Marvel through and fucking through. But something that DC has done impeccably is their animated series.
Oh yeah.
All of
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
All of
animated
DC's
shows are
animated shit is like fucking incredible. It is out of this fucking world. And now Marvel had two good animated movies, and that was the original Avengers movies. Those were sick.
Those were good.
But back to DC, fucking I'll watch all of that shit.
Dude, Young Justice.
Oh, dude.
Young Justice is really good. The Harley Quinn.
The Emancipation
new one's really
on Harley
funny,
Quinn.
Yes, the Harley Quinn animated series was really good.
So fucking funny.
Like all of the Batman stuff.
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite
all of
one
the
is
Batman,
Under the Red Hood.
Batman, the Brave and the Bold, and the Batman, like all of
The
Batman
Killing Joke.
Beyond, Batman the animated series. All of those are just absolutely phenomenal.
So
Absolutely. I actually
and they're
just
not really
watched.
geared towards children.
No.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they understood. They understood their audience and the actual darkness behind what DC is, which is something that the DCEU missed entirely, was the darkness with it. And I think that's the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League was fucking incredible, even down to the fucking color grading because of how dark it is.
Yeah.
It
like,
was fantastic.
That's, because you have someone like Joss Whedon come in like, oh, Marvel, here, let me throw my fucking, like, my Marvel formula into it, and
You
it'll
know
be
who's
fine.
funny now? Batman's funny.
Batman's funny. It's like, well,
He's not.
there's
Never
a reason
has
he
been.
was fired from Marvel,
But who is your favorite Green Lantern? Which Green Lantern is your favorite? I mean, I guess I would say you could pick any obscure Green Lantern too, but I meant of like the
of like the Hal Jordan,
the Earth sector. I can't remember. 2814.
Yeah, 2814. I really like Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner's great.
I mean, he's an asshole, but
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean,
he
But
kind
he
of
was
had a little bit of a punk rock vibe to him.
yes.
He was I loved him the most when he became a Red Lantern. That was cool.
Yeah.
Did you read Red Lanterns?
Yes, but I don't remember that part of it.
Really?
I read it.
He was like the
during
leader for a while.
During the Blackest Night.
Mhm.
Blackest Night is my favorite. Is one of my favorite like comic book series.
Blackest Night's a great one. Yeah.
When that was happening, it was really cool, and that was actually right before I got into Green Lantern in like 2011 or 2012 when they rebooted everything and they did this New 52 thing.
New 52, yeah, that was a 2012.
Yeah, where it was like 52 comics for 52 weeks, so a year. And I really got into Green Lantern then, and I was like every month I would go to the comic book store and I would have my books, and I followed Green Lantern for several years. I want to say all the way up until like 24 for 3 or 4 years, like pretty religiously. But I don't really get into too much. One that I've recently read is The Last Ronin. That it's a Teenage Mutant
the
Ninja
Turtles
Turtle
book.
Yeah. I'm a huge turtle fan. So yeah, I've only gotten the first issue. It's sold out everywhere I go. I'm like, hey, you have
really?
Last Ronin? And they're like, oh, we have issue 1 and 3, but not 2. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to skip an issue. Like,
right. You can't.
Yeah, I have them. I'm a huge comic book collector. I have a pull list at my comic shop. So I've just, I already went and picked up my comics right before this, actually.
Oh yeah. I used to have a pull and hold like account, but I don't anymore. So.
Oh, you're missing out, man. There's a lot of good shit.
All right. So with that said, if you could only play one game for the rest of your life, video game or board game or whatever kind of game, what would it be and why?
That's a good question. I would probably have to say one of the first games that comes to my mind is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Ooh, that's a great one.
Because it's just so fun and it's challenging. Another game that I recently played that is really challenging but also really fun is Cuphead.
Cuphead's so good. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And it's like that game should have been on NES when we were kids.
Right.
Because it's hard. It's hard. I
it's
have like
super hard.
Actually, I have.
Oh, here he goes. We're gonna follow him into the kitchen. Let's go.
In my kitchen, I have this like, oh shoot.
Oh, that's
yes.
Tight. This little like Cuphead thing.
That's tight. Have you seen that their Netflix is putting out a Cuphead TV show?
Yeah, I did hear about that. I wish they just put out another Cuphead game.
The show looks really fun. It looks just like the video game come to animated life.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Last question. Are you ready?
Yep.
If Barry, you getting tired of our nerdiness?
I want you to listen closely. You filthy son of a bitch. No, I could listen to you talk about your passions literally all day because I want to gas you up. I want to gas you up because you was a good man, a sexy motherfucker, and I enjoy the things that you enjoy. And that makes me truly happy. Yeah.
He also just wants to get back to bed. He doesn't feel good.
I'm sick as fuck. All right. If we know more about space than we do our own oceans, isn't the ocean technically the final frontier?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I love the ocean. Dude, when you think about it, think about how incredible. Just think about how many different species live.
Pat, take a back seat on this one. This is where we're gonna nerd out. Sit down, shut up, and listen. Okay.
The biggest. I'm really fascinated by whales in general.
Yes.
Ocean life in general, sea turtles, whales, squids, coral reefs, all that stuff is really interesting. Manta rays.
Yes.
It's just insanity how incredible the ocean is. A whale is a mammal. It's not a fish.
Right.
A dolphin is a
breathes
mammal.
air.
Do you think Atlantis is real?
I mean,
is Aquaman
maybe.
down there?
I think everything from myth is founded in truth.
I talked to my girlfriend about this. She loves hiking. I'm a big water person. I love the beach, and I we go to this area out here in kind of by St. Louis called Johnson Shut-ins, where the water really flows and you can get down in it. And she really likes hiking, and I tell her, I'm leprechauns and fairies and stuff like that. Somebody saw a bug that looked like a fairy, and they were and that's where the myth has to have come from. You know what I mean?
It's hard to just imagine something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine a new color. Right? Imagine a new species without a dragon with the horns of a unicorn. It's we already have dragons, the ideas of a dragon and the ideas of a unicorn. So it's not like you're actually coming up with something new. So where the fuck did this shit come from?
Have you heard of this book called American Gods?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, American Gods.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love Neil Gaiman.
that's where I feel like that's, I know that's fiction, but it's like there's kind of truth to that, like witches and different and leprechauns and different things like that kind of came from like, you know, what you're saying. It's like it's we think it's myth now, but at some point somebody thought it was real, like
right, or some
real.
sort of version of it. Because like if you think about how history was like written or recorded, before there was like pen and penmanship and writing shit down, it was sang about in the lore about the heroes like slaying beasts, and like to like who knows if that beast actually did breathe fire, but the bard definitely fucking said it did. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like with that shit not canonically, but like historically like flowing down the fucking funnel. And then you get into things like writing where things are a little bit more accurate, or, you know, when you see the depiction, you're able to like actually explain it. But like before, it was just word of mouth stories and generations of like
totally
like culture was all word of mouth. And that's why like people with traditions made traditions as fucking valuable as they are. So if you think that like myths are just fucking somebody fucking off on MDMA or something, just going, hey man, hear me out. What if? Like, I mean, you know what? Maybe. I don't know. But like, I'm the type of guy that genuinely believes. So I believe the type of guy that genuinely believes that there's truth in all myth.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I would agree with you.
That was
but then like,
guys.
So yeah, fucking Atlantis. Yeah, there's probably some shit down there. Like, we know more about our fucking space. We have seen the observable universe. We don't know what's like 17 miles below the surface. I don't know if it goes that
and dude, here's my thing is like, a long time ago, I was kind of like, just accepted the fact that there is a lot that I don't know. And there's a lot that just humanity in general, there's a lot of questions that we have not answered. Like, you know, we don't even really know where consciousness comes from.
Yeah.
Like me, songs, like us writing songs, like it comes from somewhere in here or in here, and you play a guitar and put it out, like, but you're consciously creating something, and we don't know where that originates from. And
yeah,
it's wild, man, when you think about how much we don't know and how many people are out there thinking that they do know everything. That's the scary thing to me. It's like,
yeah, well, it's like, you know, and I've heard this said a million times. So it's like the brain fucking named itself.
The what?
Right? The brain named itself. Think about that for just a fucking second. It was like, what am I? Brain. Like, but of course it was in Latin. So whatever that is in Latin. But like the idea that like, you know, this is what's so funny when we get worried about, am I going to make it in the music industry? Do I have time? Like, should I get a job to fall back on? I'm like, you're floating on a big ass rock through space in the observable universe, and we don't know what's below our oceans. So keep worrying about that. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of makes it, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, our problems are very small.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to pay this bill? Oh my God. Like, you know, it's
right. And onto that point real quick. It's like, for anybody out there, especially musicians, that is a question we have asked far too many fucking times, right?
How do I pay this bill? What?
yeah, exactly. How do I fucking pay this bill? And it's like, you're still here. You're still good. You found a way to pay it. Like, you might not know how to do it now when it happens again, but you'll get it. You got it last time, and you got it the time before.
Exactly.
Take a breath. It's okay. What's the worst that's going to happen? Like, truly.
Totally agree.
And like, I followed this TikTok account where this gentleman was like 35 years old. So still quite young, right? Like doing his thing, doing music. And he was like, you want to know the biggest thing I think I learned when I turned 30? Not to rush my 20s. And I was like, oh, fucking shit. I'm 27, right? So I still have like 3 years before I hit that 30 and my music window closes forever. It's like, no, you just say no.
I hit that so long ago.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be 39 in like a few weeks, and I don't feel like I thought I would feel when I turned 39.
Right.
Like I feel a lot
me,
younger. I don't
yeah.
have children. Maybe that has something to do with it. But
It's definitely part because I just turned 39 and I do have children, and I do feel older and a lot more tired. But I don't feel like people 39-year-olds like 20 years ago.
Right.
Like, I feel like 20 years ago, 39, you were like, well, I mean, like, so one of the things I've seen this meme, and I think about this a lot with just how aging has completely changed. But like, if you look at the Golden Girls, right? The Golden Girls. So have you seen the new picture of like that Sex in the City new fucking show or whatever they're doing?
Yeah.
Those women are the same fucking age as the Golden Girls.
Oh my God.
They're the same age. And now, Barry, I can see your brain is fucked right now.
It's a little fucky.
But people don't look the same back then. It was like, so they're like 60, 65 or something. And it was like 20 years ago, if you were like 60, 65, put on a muumuu, get ready to lay on the couch for the rest of the day because it's done. Life's over. It's done. Go into a retirement home. But nowadays, 65 is like, which man can I pick up or which woman can I pick up? I'm still hot and frisky. I'm ready to roll. You know, it's like
you can pick me up at 65. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
It's such a different world. It's wild.
It is wild, and that a lot of that has to do with like the way that we've approached societal norms and changed them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, this is, you know, quite arguably the first generation to value what time means. And I'm not going to say that as a blanket statement for everyone in the generation, because like every generation, we all have our fuckheads. I'm one of them. But it's like the idea of selling your time is being pushed back now. It used to just be, it used to just be like, oh, this is what we got to do to pay the bills. And that's what happened during the Great Depression. That's what happened during World War II. And with that, like, here's a bit of history for you. And I just found this out. Like, everything made sense. The few years after World War II was I think it was called the Greatest Generation or the Happiest Generation, one of the two. And it was explained to me why. And it blew my fucking mind. My friend was like, there's this whole book, and he handed me the book and I read it. But my friend explained it. He's like, when people go to war now, right now, they're in combat. And the moment that combat is over, they can be flown home in a week. They can go from combat to a bed in the US in a week. Back in World War II, they spent 3 months on a ship sailing across the sea. 3 months with their fellow brothers. They had time to grieve and mourn and process. And it was 3-month-long intensive therapy that when they came back, they didn't have to deal with as much shit. Now, that's a blanket statement. Everybody has their shit, whatever. But like, it is not as cut and dry as combat, bed. And with that, there came this idea of, that generational gap where it's like, you have to go, work, but also like do what you like. But that the overarching idea behind working was still very, very present. But that was like the first change because people didn't want to sell their fucking time anymore. And then as that trickles down, like we were talking about earlier with like the myths, as that trickles down to this generation, we're like, fuck this. Things haven't changed the way we need them to change with how fast technology is like advancing, how fast music scene is advancing, how fast shit is just fucking flying through the roof. Like, I'm pretty sure the next iPhone just came out, and I'm still stuck on the 12 or something. Like, I'm it is so fast. I can't keep track of like the new shit on my iPhone.
Well, I have a theory about that. I have a theory about, and I agree with everything that you said. And I'm definitely, when I was younger, when I was your age, Bear.
You youngster.
I'm a youngin'. I don't feel like it though.
When I was like in my mid 20s, I was like, okay, I'm gonna climb the corporate ladder and get a good job and get into management and this is gonna be my thing now. And now that I'm older and I've owned my own business for like 5 years, I'm totally content with just like, give me a job that pays decently. And as long as you let me close my laptop at the end of the day and don't bother me until the next day, I want to go do I kind of look at it as, I work hard, but it's a means to an end. Like, yeah, I do it because it pays the bills. And it helps me fund my music, and it helps me. It affords me to go on trips with my girlfriend and do all these other things that I want to do. But my theory about technology is that I think technology has moved so fast that it's moved faster than the human brain can really keep up. And if you think about social media and why we have an anxiety and depression epidemic happening in our society, I think it's because we're constantly on our phones. We're constantly comparing and judging other people. We're taking in too much info. As soon as we wake up, what do? We look at our phones. The last thing we do before we go to bed, we look at our phones. It's because we're trying to process too much information, and this hasn't had a chance to evolve to the point. Technology evolved faster than the human brain could catch up with it.
Yeah. Damn.
I support that. And on that note,
drop.
Yes, all of this has been really fucking intense, which is great, and I love it. I'm here for it. But on that note, we are going to move on to our final segment.
A much lighter segment, if I may.
Well, this one was supposed to be light too. It just got so fucking intense.
I'm sorry about the whole Frontier question. Okay,
that is my fault. There, we were talking about superheroes in games.
Hey, you mentioned Atlantis, and we fucking.
And somehow we ended up on the evolution of man.
Yeah. And I'm.
This is a music podcast, good sir.
Oh, this is an everything podcast.
It is.
This is we go everywhere, and I'm here for it. We just start out with music, and even with that, it's like
sometimes fuck it.
It all depends on how far I want to dig. But we're going to move on to rapid fire questions. Are you ready, Wes?
I'm ready.
Okay, with this segment, you're not gonna think. You're just gonna speak from the heart, and you're gonna shoot from the hip, and that's it. You get the question, you answer whatever the first thing in your brain. You ready for that?
Okay, I think so.
All right. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
MTV or Fuse?
Fuse.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Is a sweatshirt a sweater?
If a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound?
No, it's a hoodie.
I'll accept it.
Yeah, it's a good answer.
Tom DeLonge or Matt Skiba?
Oh, Tom. In Blink, Tom.
Well, right. And that's the generalized question, because obviously you can't put Tom DeLonge in Alkaline Trio. That'd be about as stupid as putting Matt Skiba in Blink-182, right? Right, guys? Right?
Can you imagine his voice singing I watch Spy Fuck on Channel 11?
I'm not opposed. I want to see a concert, right? Blink-182 and Alkaline Trio, where Tom DeLonge plays with Alkaline Trio, and Matt Skiba just keeps doing this.
That would be interesting.
Or Matt Skiba's not there at all, and Tom DeLonge does both.
Yeah.
I'm there for that.
Meanwhile,
Guitar-
Travis Barker is playing fucking.
But
all
Travis
of the
Barker
sets.
is still playing for both, though.
He's just in every pop punk band now. So
Yeah. Did
Right.
you see that meme about Travis Barker sweating when he saw the lineup for When We Were Young Fest, where he's like, I have so many sets I have to learn. I lost my shit.
Well, I mean, to be fair, with most of them, he'd only have to play a couple songs, and then the DJ does the rest. But
oh man, you know what? That's why the changeover is so quick. They don't have to fucking touch the drums.
yeah, it's the same. That's why.
That's
They've got
why.
it. I love
it's
it.
just Travis for 12
It's
hours a
just
day.
fucking Travis Barker. Guitar Hero or Rock Band?
Guitar Hero.
Final question: Newfound Glory or Simple Plan?
Oh, Newfound.
Right on.
I'm older, dude. Like Simple Plan didn't come out until like Newfound Glory was way before that. And I was like, I remember driving to school. This must have been my senior year in high school, listening to On My Own Again. It's what she said. Like I remember driving to high school with that. And my sister was a freshman, and she was like, she like didn't always like all my music, but she was like, "Oh, put in Newfound Glory." Like she really liked that.
Yes.
I remember when the self-titled album came out. I think we talked about this on one of the other podcasts. I was sitting in my mom's basement, listening to it over and over and over again until I like memorized the lyrics.
So
And
good.
everyone listening to the podcast knows I'm a Simple Plan man through and through.
Yeah. See, I'm Wes. We're like the same age, so like obviously it's Newfound Glory.
I mean, Simple Plan, that album that had like, I do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the
With
pads,
where Mark
Like,
Hoppus,
no pads,
like,
no helmets, just balls?
yeah.
Yeah.
See, that was like I didn't love that album, but I fucking loved that song though. When that song came out, like I was like, oh shit. Like I love that song.
I do too. I love that song.
Do you guys remember like one of the biggest pop punk cheat artists of them all though? SR71?
Why you gotta kick me when I'm high?
Dude, such a great fucking song. The rest of the album was like fucking alt rock though, and I was like, what the
horrible.
fuck was this bullshit? I was so mad. I remember I bought
So
this
many
CD
people
and I was-
bought that album.
Yeah.
Many people bought that album, and I feel like Wheatus was kind of the same way. Like,
Teenage
Dirtbag?
don't you fuck with Wheatus.
but dude, I have a cool Wheatus story. Can I share a cool Wheatus story?
You're the only person aside from Pat that I've ever heard that knows the band Wheatus. They're like, Teenage Dirtbag, isn't that One Direction song? Fuck you.
No one said that.
The studio here where I record, I have a practice space there. I've had a practice space there since we started Why Not in like 2015. So I've been there for like 6 years. Over the summer, I was walking in and there was a bunch of people like kind of hanging out outside. And I was like, I didn't recognize them. And I know most of the people who are like hanging out at the studio. Sometimes there's a band recording from out of town that I don't know. But I was like, it seems a little weird. I walk in, I see this dude, and I go, "Hey man, what's going on?" I was like, "Are you guys recording here?" He's like, "Oh, well, we rented the recording studio out for a couple of days." And I go, "Oh, that's cool." And I go, "What band are you in?" He goes, "Wheatus." And I go, "Wait, say that again." He goes, "Wheatus." And I go, "Like Teenage Dirtbag Wheatus?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I look around, and
if you're
there's
just
all
like,
these road,
fuck
there's
you
all
and
these
push
road
them. You're like,
pages
you're a
with
fucking
Wheatus on
liar.
it in the logo. And apparently they were on the road. They were opening. I forget. They were opening for somebody big, and their show got canceled in like Des Moines, Iowa. And so they had a couple days to rehearse. They wanted to rehearse, so they rented out the recording studio to rehearse. They brought their bus in and everything, and it was insane. I was like, Wheatus really is like in our studio right now. This is insane.
That's
Because
wild.
That's so
that
fucking
song
cool.
Was everywhere when it came out.
That's tight.
Yeah.
I actually have a kind of similar story. Now, Barrett, I forgot this is a celebrity that I ran into too, and I haven't told you this story yet.
Oh God.
So I was on tour driving for May Day Parade. I was I was their gear driver, and I was at their before the tour started. We were at their practice space, very similar type thing. And as I was like walking out to like my truck and stuff, I ran into this dude, and like I was like, because I was fucking around, I just was walking, boom, hit this dude. I look up and I was like, oh shit, sorry, Mr. Bon Jovi. And he was like, it's John. I'm like, okay, Bon Jovi. But yeah, so that was cool. Like I touched Bon Jovi.
Inadvertently too. How amazing. You touched John.
Was he slippery when wet?
Sure shit was.
All right, man. Well, you did it. You made it through the podcast. Congratulations.
Yes.
Hell yeah. So here's what we're gonna do.
Thank you guys so much. This was fun.
Yeah, dude. Literally any fucking time. So we're gonna give you a platform right now. Okay. We want you to tell us what's going on with you in your life, in your music endeavors, in your career. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you? What's next for Wes Hoffman?
So I don't know so we have an EP out right now on all streaming platforms called Rewrite the Story. And on March 5th here in St. Louis, we're doing an EP release show, and we're going to have cassettes. So we're working with a couple labels. One from here in St. Louis, they're just called the Record Label. And then one in Canada called Wrecking Crew Records. Wrecking Crew is a fairly new label. I want to give them some love. Like they've been, this is only maybe like their 6th release that they're doing. Wow. So we're not like signed to them or anything. They're just helping us put out the cassette. And then the record label here, he does a lot of local bands, but he also has a lot of bigger bands in the works, and he owns a record store too. So he sells the records in his store. So shout out to John and Don from Wrecking Crew and the record label. So you'll be able to get the cassettes if you want to support us on our Bandcamp page or at the Record Space's website or Wrecking Crew's website or at the Record Space store. And then that's in March 5th. And then in April, we are going on a little mini weekend tour with a band called Fluorescence from Chicago.
They're tight.
And a band called Stay the Course from Wichita. So we're doing like just a little like St. Louis, Kansas, St. Louis, Wichita, Lawrence, Kansas type thing. And that's going to be our first thing.
Do you know where you're playing in Lawrence?
Replay Lounge.
Oh,
nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So, and then, actually this weekend, I'm going back into the studio to record 3 more songs for a full length. I've already got 3 recorded. So we're about halfway done. After this weekend, we'll be about halfway done. And I'm hoping that will come out like later this year. I'm hoping like maybe October we'll get that done and awesome. Have it ready to go. But we'll be dropping singles like periodically from it, like leading up to that. So but that's pretty much everything. We got we're hoping to do a few festivals this year too. So we're going to do a little bit of touring, like, if we can get a fest here and there, like we'll do a string of shows on the way out and on the way back kind of type thing. It's just, I'm really thankful, man, because it's really only been about a year since I've really been pushing this project, like, to get more than just my friends and family to listen. And where we're at now compared to where we were a year ago with just like streaming numbers and the amount of people that know about our band is like, it's awesome. So, and it just continues to grow, and it's really growing organically. Like, since we put out the EP, like the streaming numbers have been great, and it's people are listening and sharing. And the other day, this guy shared our song For What It's Worth on Instagram and tagged me, and I was like, "Hey, how did you hear about us?" And he was like, "Well, he's from Austria," and he was like, "Oh, it was just on my release radar and on Spotify." And he was like, I've probably listened to this song 12 times today.
Dude, that's amazing. Plus, you just made that dude's day by reaching out.
What's that?
I said, plus you just made that dude's day by reaching out.
Yeah, exactly. So,
hell yeah. Well, Wes, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. We had a blast.
I did too. This was fantastic.
Well, yeah, we'll have to have you on again sometime soon.
And thank you guys for all you do. It really is important work, and you guys just have such an awesome platform and brand, and I love it. So thanks so much for everything that you do, and for giving bands like us and a platform to share what we're doing.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Well, this has been another episode.
All our pleasure.
It's been another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry, and today the ethos about myths and the truth that lie within. We'll catch you guys next in.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe. Thank you to those who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere else you stream your podcast. If you're in the position to help us grow, head over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments below who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thanks so much.